South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome in. It's Sports by the Book here on a Thursday after Christmas. I'm Jeff Parles, thrilled to be with you as always. I don't know what I did. I knocked the feeling out of my elbow. That's always a good way to start the show, right? Happy to be with you, even regardless of that. You know what? I'll be honest with you guys. First off, let's start off with the good things in life. Hope everyone had a great holiday. Hope everyone enjoyed themselves yesterday, whether it was watching 2 blowouts on Netflix or a full day of NBA or just saying, you know what, I'm just going to spend a day with my family, have a nice piece of prime rib or whatever you cooked at home, and that's going to be that today. Hope you had a great Christmas yesterday, everyone, and be doing it all over again in less than a week on New Year's. By the way, I'll just bring this up real quick, and I just want to nod from our guy Sean, who's operating the thing here today or not, and then also be willing to comment in the chat. After like December 7th, and I just wonder if I know there's a supply chain issue with eggs right now, but I could not find eggnog anywhere after like December 7th. Couldn't find it. Going to have to be some homemade stuff for the new year, I would say, more than anything. That if you found eggnog, congratulations. It was a scarcity this year. All right. Speaking of scarcities, that's the W column for the Chicago Bears. See what I did there, Ryan? See what I did? Yeah, sorry. That's the main event here today on the Thursday. Thursday Night Football, the final Thursday Night Football game of the year. The Bears. I'm going to make that more of a D more than a T there, Jeff. Come on now. Host the Seahawks, and boy, the bettors have been all over Seattle. Up to 4 now in this game. Now, yes, I know Chris and Vinny opened this game 3.5, so not that much further. The look-ahead numbers last a little over a week ago had the Seattle 1.5, which seemed very, very low. It's one of the rare times that I almost considered actually betting a look-ahead number on an NFL game. I very rarely do that. But what you're looking at tonight is 2 teams that are, I don't even want to say going in opposite directions, because not like the Seahawks have played well recently. Bears, if they lose out, will have lost 11 straight games to end the year after starting 4-2. I was going to use the Sunday road game stat, but Thursday nights are when the Bears are better. Bears have not won since October 13th. 4 baseball teams more recently won than the Bears? I think it's 4. Got to double check that if Cleveland won more recently than the Bears have. That was on October 13th against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Since then, obviously, the Bears have found every creative way to lose. The Hail Mary game against Washington, which really started the spiral. The game against Green Bay, they had one that they did until they didn't. That was the field goal block game. Cardinals, they give up a Hail Mary run more so than anything to bust that game open. And then the clock management that wasn't clock management against Detroit on Thanksgiving, the 3-point loss. The last 3 weeks since they fired Matt Eberflus, look, sometimes it goes one way with the interim coach, sometimes it goes this way. The Bears have given up 30-plus in all 3 games. They're getting outscored 102-42 in those 3 games. Is that good, guys? No, not good. Not good. 34-17 last week. I will say this. I thought Caleb Williams was better last week, which was good. But that defense, somehow that game had no points in the fourth quarter. That defense has been dreadful since Eberflus got canned. Now you're getting the Seattle team that, look, they need to win. They need to win this game or else next week could be totally irrelevant for the Seattle Seahawks. Because the Rams, the way it works, because of divisional record, if the Seahawks lose tonight and the Rams win on Saturday night against the Cardinals, it's all over for Seattle. The Seahawks would be out completely because they can't make it to the wild card anymore with the 10th win for the Washington Commanders and a much better conference record for the Commanders than the Seahawks. The only path in is the division, and that would take 2 Seattle wins in order to do that. So the Seahawks need a lot of help, and they need to help themselves here tonight as 4-point favorites. That total sitting at 42. I like it over, by the way. I like that total over. I know Seattle's defense has been the better of the 2 units, but I expect Geno Smith and company to be able to score. Last week, 51 total points in that game against the Vikings. Then the weather, weather's pretty darn good. There is a chance of rain. How about this rarity for Chicago weather in December without snow in the forecast? 91% humidity here tonight, but 44 degrees. No snow. No snow in the forecast. Too warm, obviously, for that. Potential for rain midway through the game. Maybe even a kick if the timing is wrong. But this I still think is an over game. Winds less than 10 miles an hour. But the way the Bears defense has given up over the last few weeks, I like this game over. To 42. That would be the only way I look to play this one here today. Again, that total's down a point from its peak at 43. So I'd be a look at the over for this one. Just real quick, prop-wise, Ryan McCormick and I will have a full breakdown when we are back here at 3 o'clock on Football Frenzy. The only thing I would look to make sure to get now, because I think the number will move down, will be a Jackson Smith and Jigba anytime touchdown. I do not think they'll be settling in at $2. I would bet that earlier rather than later. Just don't think those numbers will be there. The other thing you got to be cognizant of also is Zach Charbonnet's number. Again, Kenneth Walker looks like he's going to be out yet again. 68.5 on Charbonnet. Probably looked at that over. Just, again, tread carefully with these numbers. Don't bet bad numbers on these totals as we go through the day here today, especially on the prop end of things. Real quick, just going back to yesterday in the NFL with the 2 Christmas Day games. By the way, the Chiefs still have not scored 30 points in a game this season. They were one shy yesterday. 29-10 final in that one against Pittsburgh. Winning easily as 2-point favorites. Steelers, I don't think the Steelers are winning another game this year. I think they're losing next week to Cincinnati. I think they're losing their wild card playoff game regardless of who it ends up being. Might have to think long and hard if it's the Texans. But if it's the Ravens, where the scenario that I see playing out, Chargers win out, Steelers lose out, would put the Steelers in the 6 in a rematch against Baltimore. I don't think the Steelers are winning again this year. Again, nice season for them, but I know there are going to be a lot of people that are aggravated with Mike Tomlin. It's another one of these years, a lot of regular season wins, but nothing significant. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016. It's been a while for the Steelers when they were in the AFC title game that year. That's the last time they won a postseason game. Chiefs wrapped up the number 1 seed. Guys, I know we've been saying all year, the Chiefs are not the same. They're not as good. They're going to get beat in the playoffs. They're playing their best football right now, guys. And they get 24 days for everyone to get healthy, for everyone to rest. They're not going to play their guys next week. We know Andy Reid doesn't play his starters when he already has stuff wrapped up. We know this. But you're in a scenario here where the Kansas City Chiefs, again, even before yesterday, have vaulted them back to number 1 because that defense is of the premium contenders. I still have 4 premium contenders in this league, and I guess I'll add Baltimore as a 5th. The Chiefs have by far the best defense in the AFC contenders. That's Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore. And then Philadelphia, yeah, look, Jalen Hurts has got to get out of concussion protocol. The Eagles, I still think, are the most well-rounded team in the National Football League. But Kansas City's defense is playing as well as anyone right now. Showed it yesterday, holding Pittsburgh to only 10 points. Russell Wilson rushing touchdown, you have that, Sean? No. We did okay on the props yesterday in this game, Ryan and I, what we talked about on Monday on Football Frenzy. And then the other game, how is 31-2 not scoregami? Seriously, how is there not scoregami? It's apparently the 3rd time. By the way, if you're asking, what the heck is scoregami? Scoregami is when there's a unique score for the first time ever in NFL history. Somehow this is the 3rd time this score has happened of 31-2. And quite frankly, the score does not indicate how big of a beatdown it was. Baltimore just destroyed the Texans yesterday in Houston. If it wasn't for Beyonce, it would have been a full loss for everyone who went to that game for Houston yesterday. Lamar, it's funny. Yesterday, Lamar's the MVP conversation happened again. I still think it's a coin flip between him and Josh Allen. The betting markets are starting to indicate that it's more coin flippy. Jackson didn't have to do much yesterday because the Texans' plan against Derrick Henry was an abomination. Other than that safety. Henry ran for $147, 5 yards a carry yesterday. Lamar had a long rushing touchdown. Lamar had a 67-yard play to Mark Andrews as well mixed in there. The Ravens' offense, when at full throat, is as good as anyone, if not the best offense in the NFL. I still have concerns about that defense, even though they were quite good yesterday. No offensive points for the Texans yesterday, obviously, with that deuce that's sitting there. But the Texans, who are going to make the playoffs, because they already won the AFC South, which the AFC South might start having to get the NL Central treatment for me at this point. Why are we giving them playoff berths when they don't deserve it? But I get it's the system. But this Texan team, the only high-end win they have this year is that Buffalo game. If you remember that was back in week 5 when the Bills lost 3 straight, or were in the midst of their losing streak. The 2 straight losses before they stabilized the ship yet again. But remember, Josh Allen probably had a concussion that game and didn't get diagnosed. Went to the time, got cleared. Clearly was not the same guy after the large hit to the helmet that he took off the turf in that game. Texans have beat nobody this year other than that Buffalo win. Their best win other than that is what? Miami? Indianapolis twice? This is not a good football team. And I do have a little bit of a worry moving forward about C.J. Stroud, who has been genuinely mediocre this year. I also don't think Bobby Slowick's that good as an offensive coordinator, and I have my questions about Ryans as a head coach. Good culture guy. I don't know how good he is in game, to say the very least. But that was a beatdown. Also, if you thought you were getting, if you thought 31 from Baltimore, you're probably thinking you're getting to that total. You didn't even really come close with that 31-2 final. All right. Let's go to the college football today. 3 bowl games on the docket here today on this Thursday, day after Christmas. And we start in the Game Above Sports Bowl. What a bowl name, right? What a name. It's in Toledo. It's in Detroit. Toledo taking on Pitt. The Pitt Panthers, who have lost 5 straight games entering this one, started 7-0 and then collapsed like a house of cards usually does. The Pitt Panthers today will have neither of their guys who played legitimate action this year. No Eli Holstein. No Nate Yarnell. Yarnell is committed going to Texas State, so he's not playing in this game for Pitt. Holstein not in. So it's David Lynch who makes his first career start for the Pitt Panthers. Redshirt freshman, walk on. Lynch threw 9 passes so far this year. They're taking on a Toledo team that's one of the weaker Toledo versions we've seen in a long time. Usually this is a perennial MAC power this year. Toledo on the year, only 7 wins, 500 in MAC play, very average football team. Lost to Akron in overtime their last time out, which was a really nice win for Joe Moorhead and the Zips. So this is all a tolerance thing here today on what your tolerance of taking bad numbers is. It was as high as 9 in this game at some shops. Chris and Company opened at 7.5, so it's not a big move, but it did go through 7. But I like Toledo outright in this game because at this rate, the Pitt Panthers were, again, one of the luckiest teams in college football. One of top 10 CFB stats had that this year. And quite honestly, this game for Pitt, what? We're playing a bowl game in Detroit against a MAC team? How do you get up for that? How do you get up for that? Our quarterbacks aren't here anymore for this game? How do you get up for that if you're Pitt? I don't see how they get up for it. So that's why I like the dog here with Toledo at 6.5, your number. Total, by the way, down 3 points as well from the early openers. Not much of a shock there, but I like Toledo. We'll take the points with the Toledo Rockets in this one against the Pitt Panthers. All right, let's go to the desert next. At the home of the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Kansas State Wildcats take on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Pretty much everyone's playing in this game of note, which is good. You have to like that, a rarity in this day and age of the bowl games. Because of that, total's been bet up from 51 to 52. Said Togler at 7 and 6.5 on this game. So this, I think, truly comes down to motivation both ways. Both starting quarterbacks are in this game. The only big-time name out on the K-State offense is DJ Giddens, which I don't know if that's a huge deal, as good as Giddens is, because Dylan Edwards will play the Colorado transfer, and Edwards is super, super talented. So I would be very interested to see on that, by the way. Big-time news for K-State that there's no movement coming in the transfer portal for Avery Johnson. There was a little bit of a concern of that, but he's staying put. On the Rutgers side, no Kyle Monungai, which is not much of a shock, which does eliminate their biggest offensive weapon. But Colin Konekis, the quarterback, will be in there. So both starting quarterbacks playing in this game. I do lean to K-State because of the no Monungai, but I will say this, Rutgers' defense, which went through cycles this year. They had some stretches where they looked like they could be a high-end defense this year. They had some stretches where they were truly pitiful. The game against the back-to-back against Wisconsin and UCLA really stands out. That total bust against Illinois that cost them that game, that final home game of the season. Thankfully for Rutgers, at that point, they already had win number 6. But thankfully for Rutgers bettors, they won the next week to get them over to 6.5. But this would be a lean to K-State, lay the 7 with the Wildcats in this one there in the Rate Bowl. Rate Bowl. That's because Guaranteed Rate rebranded to Rate. So that's why you have that. And you saw now the White Sox Stadium is now I mean, it's now Rate Field. Sure, why not? Yeah, that's good. That's really doing stuff on a budget there, guys. All right, we'll go to Mobile last. The 68 Ventures Bowl. One off from being a very nice venture. The Bowling Green Falcons are up to 10 because there's a whole lot of opt-outs on Arkansas State. Whole ton of opt-outs. So, this is one of your classic bowl season ones. Is your tolerance good enough to lay a bad number, or are you just taking a number, even though, again, for Butch Jones and company, there are a ton of opt-outs for Arkansas State tonight. So, tread super carefully here on this. I'd probably stay off of this completely. More so than anything. I would just stay out of this. See if there's in-game options. See if Bowling Green. See what Bowling Green show up rate is. See how if they're playing hard in this game. See if they really want to be there against a Red Wolves team with a bunch of opt-outs here today. By the way, real quick before we just do our update on the college football playoff, and then we'll say goodbye here until 3 o'clock on this channel. There was some significant basketball news this morning in the college hoops landscape. Jim Larinaga, who of course famously got George Mason to the Final Four, got Miami to the Final Four 2 years ago as well. He's going to be stepping down today. A bad start for the Canes in the season. Kind of looked like with the way they were in the portal, the way that they looked on the court. It was time. It was time for Larinaga to step aside. Kind of surprised he didn't make it to the end of the year. But amazing career. Again, a Final Four at George Mason, a Final Four at Miami. Congratulations on a great career for Jim Larinaga, who's retiring later today from the University of Miami. All right. Let's hit a few college football playoff things here before we get out of here. Sean, if you want to post the bracket up real quick. We got all chalk last week. All 4 favorites covered. All 4 favorites advanced. And now, be prepared this week for the upsets from some non-betting media here this week. Because technically by the seeds, now granted, Penn State was ranked 4th. Boise State was ranked 9th. But again, 6v3. Same with Texas and Arizona State. But if Ohio State beats Oregon, that's not an upset by the bookmakers. Ohio State's favored in this game, as we know. But we'll get back to that. We'll start with that 6-3 game in the Fiesta Bowl first, where Penn State and Boise State will do battle. There's your bracket. They all meet eventually in Atlanta, so it could be twice due for Texas and Atlanta. It could be 3 of their last 5 when it's all said and done. This was the one that was supposed to be in Vegas, right? I think that'll be coming sooner rather than later. Penn State, 10.5-point favorites against Boise. Looking at that right now, not much of a shock there that this is a double-digit line. We saw some 11s early as well. Penn State, 10.5 against Boise. Again, Ryan and I will have a full breakdown on a Monday of these, but I just want to give everyone an up-to-date number on these lines. There is some 11 in the market. Arizona State, a 13.5-point underdog against Texas in this one, in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. Total on this one, 52. Oregon, Ohio State, of course, the big one. Right now, the Ducks are 2.5-point underdogs in this game against Ohio State. And in Georgia, 1.5-point favorites against Notre Dame. That's where we're at right now. All the numbers for the 4 games going on here today. On next Tuesday and Wednesday for these big, massive bowl games. All right. See you short and sweet here today. College football playoff. We'll be down to the Final Four. We'll be able to break that down a week from now. But coming up later on the channel here today, Ryan McCormick and I, Football Frenzy gets you ready for the Bears and the Seahawks in the week ahead in the NFL. And, of course, Frank Nicotero will be here at noon on Punchlines FN here this afternoon. Sean, Ryan, thank you. Everyone in the chat, thank you. I'm Jeff Parles. We'll see you again next time right here on Sports by the Buck.